Alright, so remember, fall is the perfect time to plant your garlic, and fall is when you want to plant your garlic. So we've got a 3x5 raised bed here. That's where I'm going to put my garlic. I've got 2 of them, one back here. I'm going to make a grid. You plant 5 garlic cloves per square foot, and then you'll get 75 in each bed. I use this little contraption here. It's just like a little planting tool. Put a hole down maybe 3 inches and push the clove down as far as you can get it. And then I mulch it over with some leaves. Keep it warm throughout the winter. In the spring, this will be one of the first things you see popping up through the soil. So remember to get it in the fall, or else your garlic's going to be tiny. A lot of people make the mistake of waiting till spring to plant their garlic, and that's why their garlic's so small. So put it in now, people. Put it in now. Just making my grid. One other thing to make sure you do is put the little clove in with the root side pointing down and the pointy part pointing up. And just put it down as far as you can get it in that hole. So once you've got the whole bed planted, you want to just gently go over it, fill in all the holes. And then when you've got all the holes filled in, cover it back over with leaves. I'll probably get some more leaves from around the yard, pile them up, mound them over here just to keep it good and insulated, just so that you're not like freezing super solid, because that will kill the garlic if it gets completely, utterly frozen. You can see there's nothing else growing in the entire garden until you get to these couple of beds. And look at this. Here's my garlic that I planted last fall. 30 square feet of garlic planted, I think 5 per square foot. And it came up great. It's looking good. And then it grows a little bit in the fall, takes root. And then that way in the spring, it's one of the first things to pop up through the soil. I think I showed you a little bit of it earlier. And it's also one of the first real harvests you get after asparagus. There's usually a little bit of a lull. But then you get this garlic. Now it's not the part of the garlic you might expect. This is called a garlic scape. If I let it continue to grow, it'll turn into a flower stalk. They come up out of the top leaves. They have a little bit of a whiter color to them, and they're round instead of being flat like the leaves. You can, once they grow up and loop around, these guys are almost ready to pick. Once they loop around once, I usually pick them. That way they're still kind of soft and tender. And you saute them just for a short while. They have a great garlic flavor. You can eat them raw, but they can be pretty hot and spicy like garlic. And when you cut these, it makes the plant send more energy down into the bulb. And that's the part of the garlic you want to harvest later on, probably in about 3 weeks or so. So really, cutting the scape and getting a nice garlic harvest right now is making my later garlic harvest even better. It's a win-win. A lot of people don't know that about garlic. You get 2 harvests. So that right there is the garlic scape. You can see how it sort of loops around. You want to cut it right down, right above the first leaf there, so that you're not cutting any of the leaves off the plant. And man, are they delicious. So it's time to harvest the garlic. You want to harvest your garlic when the bottom third of the plant, the leaves anyway, have senesced. That's just a scientific fancy pants plant term for dried up and died. So, senesce. Word of day. Another way you can tell if the garlic is ready is you can leave a couple of the scapes on there. They'll develop into these garlic seed flowers. and when it's just about pointed upright, uncurled, then it's ready to pick. Alright, so we've got our garlic plant here. It's kind of hard to see an individual one, but you've got this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves left. And you've got 1, 2, 3 that have dried up. So we're just going to grab it sort of down by the base, pull gently upwards, and hopefully the dirt should be loose enough that it sort of just flakes off. And then you can just very gently brush that, and there you have it. Garlic. You leave the roots on. I'm going to bundle a bunch of these together, and I'm going to hang them in a dry place out of direct sun. This one is the one I left the seed top on. This draws nutrients away from the bulb. Look at the size of the bulb compared to a similar sized one. It's smaller. That's why you want to cut your scapes. When you pull these up, there's a bunch of dirt on them. You want to just brush off gently the loosest of the dirt. You don't want to grind down into the actual garlic because it's not cured yet and you risk damaging the bulb. So just gently brush off any loose dirt, and then we're going to hang this. Once it's dried out, then we can brush off a little bit more of the dried dirt and get rid of some of the dirtier outside leaves. We don't want to get rid of too many of the leaves because then you also risk damaging the garlic. It won't store as well. So there it is. Garlic. So I've got myself a wheelbarrow full of garlic here. I'm going to find a nice spot in the shade because it's hot out here, and I'm going to tie these, bundle them up so I can hang them. Alright, so I'm just going to take a bundle of garlic, maybe like 10-15 heads of garlic. I'm going to bundle them together. I'm going to try to layer them so they're not all at the same level. That way, when they're hanging, I can get some good airflow around them. I'm just going to take a piece of rope or string, twine, whatever you call this. We're just going to tie it off so that way we can hang another bunch on the other end of this. We're going to loop it over a hook and it'll dry out perfectly. Right, so there it is. 2 clumps ready to go, and then I'm going to make another one just like that to balance it out. Shake as much of the loose dirt off as possible so it doesn't end up all over wherever you hang it. So we've got another bunch right here. We're going to hang these on the hooks. Maggie! So I'm going to hang them in the bulkhead because it's a nice dry place out of the sun. And I've got the rafter up here. I don't know if you can see, but on the rafter I've got these little hooks. It's just a piece of wire. I don't know what gauge, maybe like a 16 gauge wire or something. And I looped it over the rafter, made a little hook on each end, and then I'm going to put one of those pairs of clumps on each one of these hooks. You have to put it on both sides at the same time to balance it out. That's the only trick. Wish me luck. There it is. So there it is. All the garlic is now hanging in the bulkhead. We're going to leave it there for about a month. So when your garlic's dried out enough, you want to cut it about 1.5 inches or so from the bulb. Take off any of the loose, really dirty paper so that it's pretty clean. And then we're going to snip off most of the roots, making sure I don't cut any of the actual garlic. So once I've got it like that, I'm going to take it, put it in my bucket, and I'm going to repeat that like 3,000 times. And right here we've got our garlic for the year that'll just store really nicely down in the basement. And be sure to save some of the larger bulbs for your garlic for next year. You want to make sure they're in good shape to be planted. Remember, plant in the fall. As always, thanks for watching another episode of Life in the Garden. I hope your garlic planting goes well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.